When we deal with a high net divorce here at the Dohlen Law Firm, there's really two big factors that we have to consider and deal with. The first is making sure that we know where everything is and we know the value of it. Where is it, what is it, and how is it valued? Very often in a high net worth divorce, we've got diverse assets that are scattered in a whole lot of different categories. So corralling all of that into one place is the first step. And the next step is the characteristic of the asset. A lot of high net worth estates are highly diversified. We've got things that are not liquid. Well, we've got to characterize all that. And we've got to figure out how to assign a numerical value to that so that we can divide it once we get to the divorce itself. So one of the big challenges we run into with complicated assets or non-standard, non-liquid assets in a high net worth divorce, whether we're talking about real estate or automobiles or gun collections or coin collections, actually the biggest challenge with these is the emotional attachment to these things in the first place, because high net worth estates were compiled together through hard work and toil, and usually a lot of emotion went into pulling all this together and maintaining it and building it. And then when it comes time to divide it, those emotions just explode, and people value these things that they took. It took so much of their blood, sweat, and tears to put together. How do we divide them? Well, if we can, we'll assign a numerical value to them. Real estate can be appraised. There's a number that can be put on it. Art can be appraised. Coin collections can be appraised. So we try to use outside appraisers to figure out what things are worth and then proceed with the division. If you can, you want to get that when it comes time to divide it, you want to try to get into mediation where the emotions can come into play, and we can do emotional trading. Because if you've got these kind of high net worth assets and you get into court, the court's going to make a mathematical decision and it's almost certainly not going to consider the emotional value of the assets. So how does a high net worth divorce impact child support? Well, child support is calculated on income. First of all, just because you have a high net worth, a high valued estate, doesn't mean you have high income, right? So the court's only going to look to the income that comes in to calculate child support. And Texas has a cap that caps the obligor's income at a certain dollar amount, above which we, generally speaking, don't calculate child support based on that income. In a high net worth divorce, you may have a child who's gotten used to a certain lifestyle that higher income provided during the time that child was living in this intact family. And quite often, for cause, the party who's going to receive child support can ask the court for a higher amount above the cap because of the needs of the child. Those are rare cases and you have to prove them. But generally speaking, child support is going to be capped off at a certain amount for high wage earners. And generally speaking, if someone's trying to get above that cap, they've got a high hurdle to go through to prove that they would need that. And sometimes it's awarded. So if you're concerned about your high income impacting your post-divorce maintenance, if you're going to pay spousal maintenance to your spouse, or if you're a spouse who's anticipating receiving post-divorce maintenance, you're not going to have to give away your whole estate to handle this obligation on the other side of divorce. In Texas, post-divorce maintenance is capped at $5,000 a month or 20% of your net resources available to you to pay that obligation on the other side of divorce. So in a high net worth divorce or a high income divorce, a lot of guys are concerned about this is going to clean me out on the other side because I'm going to have to pay this huge exorbitant amount of spousal support. Well, first of all, that's a rare case. We don't see that very often. I get asked this question every so often, but it's actually kind of rare. But there is a cap in Texas, and that cap is either $5,000 a month or 20% of the obligor's gross income. So if you've got a high net worth divorce or you're facing a divorce and you're concerned about dividing significant assets, that's something we've helped a lot of people with, and we can certainly help you. Give us a call.